No, you're a bitch ass again, bro. Did you just Invis Pot? That's real mature. Oh, I fucked up. I didn't mean it, bro. I mean, bro. Got cucked by mobs. My bad. Yeah. Am I just autistic?
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
What's going on, everybody? It's zeplore here, and today I have a cleric build for you all. It is a Smite and Judgement Cleric build. I've been owning people with it in solos and high roller, and I very much enjoy this build. It's very much a tanky bruiser build, a little bit on the slower side movement speed, but not completely fucked movement speed wise. High magic damage, high action speed, high fist power, and it fucks. For perks, we're going to be running Faithfulness, Blood Weapon Mastery, Perseverance, and Protection from Evil. Faithfulness gives us extra magic damage on both our Smite and our Judgment, and also further reduces their movement speed by 15% for 1.5 seconds. It's great for both of these. Blunt Weapon Mastery gives us just a flat 10% physical damage bonus, which is amazing when we're attacking with our melee weapon. Perseverance reduces all types of incoming damage by 2, which is perfect if you're on a rogue or a sorcerer with a damage over time, like the Lightning Tether or the Lightning Storm, or a cleric with Locust Swarm. This will basically nullify it and make it pretty much useless against you. And Protection from Evil, which reduces your, well, I should say increases your debuff duration by 30%. And this is really nice when people apply slows to you because they don't last as long. When any weapon hits you, ranged or melee, and it applies an on-hit slow, whether it's a windless crossbow shot or a mace hitting you in the face, or a war maul hitting you. Anytime anything hits you, you are applied with a movement speed debuff, and this reduces it by 30%. Can be nice from getting out of really shitty situations. And also things like the Sorcerer Knockup with their wind levitate ability. You're in the air for much less longer, which is definitely preferred when you're running a build like this. I'm going to quickly go over the stats I typically aim for when I'm building a kit, but we'll go into the specifics of building a kit later on in this video. For the most part, I try to aim for at least 170 health after my Morningstar and Buckler is out. So in this kit, my Buckler has +3 health and my Morningstar has +3 health, so when I'm walking around, I'm 179 HP. I try to aim for at least 10% action speed. This build is a little bit lower on action speed, a little bit higher on health, and a few other areas such as magic power, so I'm not necessarily hating this 8%, I just wish it was at least 10. Sometimes my builds can go up to at least 15% with this kind of build as well. Since the gear bases that you use there's such a flex with what you can use, it really doesn't matter, you can't really go wrong. But I usually try to hit at least 10% on this. This 8% is a little bit lower than I'd like it to be. And then my PDR, I always try to build at least 40% before my Buckler is out. I always get double PDR Bucklers, so when I pull my Buckler out, I should be almost 50% PDR. When you have, 170 plus HP, you can tank a lot of hits. Magic resistance, again, is usually at least 30%. You don't really have to build into this. You just kind of get it when you use the Ruby Silver Vestments, basically, and with the Cleric's high starting will and plus that all attributes gear. Physical power bonus, I at least aim for 10%, so that with physical or blunt weapon master, we're at 20% swinging per hit, which makes you hit really hard. And magical power bonus, I usually try to get this from magical power to at least 35 if I can. Sometimes you can buy Morningstars that are pretty cheap that have magical power on them, which isn't the worst thing because I don't use a book or a staff switch to empower my judgment, because obviously if you're casting judgment with a spellbook or a magic staff, since those items have a base magical damage on them, they're going to be doing the judgment damage, which is 25 plus this magical weapon damage of 5 for 30, then multiplied by your magical power bonus. So this gives you more than 5 in the long run because it's multiplicative. But I don't think it's worth it, personally. I like just walking around with the Morningstar Buckler, hitting somebody with a Judgment at mid-range, and then just jumping on them and finishing them off with Smite, and basically just locking them in place. Because they're so slowed with Faithfulness that they just can't go anywhere. And if your action speed is high enough, you can hit them because Faithfulness is on a refresher. It has a cooldown, so you don't inflict this with every attack. However, the cooldown on Faithfulness is considered a debuff. So if you're using Protection from Evil, this increases the rate at which you can apply Faithfulness. If you try to apply Faithfulness without Protection from Evil, it's harder to do on every hit. You're not quite getting it on every hit when you have Protection from Evil, but with a high enough action speed, you can almost get it every other hit and perfectly lock someone in place. It's really, really strong. Combining the Faithfulness, the fact that its refresh rate is coded as a debuff, and Protection from Evil increases your debuff, or rather, it's kind of weird to say, it increases your debuff duration. Is that the proper way of saying it? Yes, it increases your debuff duration. So my debuff duration on this kit is minus 50% since I have Protection from Evil. So that's me applying Faithfulness twice as much, basically, if this was 0. So keep that in mind. You can play this on the Goblin Caves and have success with it, but personally, I enjoy playing this more on the Ruins because the potential for Invis Pot plays in front of the red static portals on Ruins is massive. Everybody usually just rushes the static reds to go down in the Crypts. Not many people stay on the Ruins to farm it, or if they get a kill on the Ruins, they'll just blow out. But most people are looking to go down further and find those fights on Crypts and even go down even further into Inferno. But you can get some really nasty plays since the Cleric has such a high starting will. Like I have, on this kit, I have a lot of buff duration. I don't even build it. I have 35% buff duration, and I'm not even really building into buff duration at all. I'm not paying any extra for that buff duration. I just have it, and that makes the Invis Pots last longer, and of course it makes the Smite last longer, so it's not the worst thing to build if you can get it without paying extra for it. But because of that buff duration, which that affects the duration of which you remain invisible when you drink a potion, so you can get some really nasty plays off on the Ruins, get some free loot pretty easily. spicy. Thanks for the gear, mate. Alright, look at that. All that true, 2 health. All that true, 1 health. These are like 3 to 4k each. Just these 2 rings. Speed, strength, action speed, additional. Legendary stiletto, add wep, action speed, health, physical damage. Reinforced with strength, max health, true, max rolls, while under max health, action speed, phys damage. That's kind of trash. Probably should switch this out for something else, but it is what it is. Unique Crusader Helm, health, armor rating, physical damage reduction. Ooh, that's going to be so good. Buckled agility, add move, physical damage, vigilant, health, true, phys damage. Frost, all, health, power. Sure. That is some biz. That is some first game biz right there. Down like dog. Oh, you're right. 8k is not that expensive. Huh. Wait just like 1 minute. Let's see. Someone runs through jail. I can hear this thing aggro on them. I can pre-pot. Ease. He's coming. Alright, let's go over the gearing, starting from the top down. I'm going to start with the helm and then work my way down. Here's my page that I have of these. I don't particularly want to buy another set of this because I have so many, and these sets are usually on the more expensive side, like 8,000 to 10,000 gold. But for you guys, I will do that and show you the process. For a helm, I usually always go with a Crusader helm or a Spangen helm. They're both very good, solid picks. As you can see, I usually go for like 3 max health, 1 true, or you know, this has +2 strength because it starts with agility dex, and this has +2 dex because it starts with strength bigger. So what I will do is probably look up a Crusader helm. Let's see here. Crusader helm, oh, not Crusader armor. Crusader helm with health and true match, and to see what we can see here. So this is quite a jump, right? This goes from 200 to 2,000 gold. I don't think this is worth 2,000 gold, personally. This is a good helm, nothing wrong with it, but not worth it for me. So I'm going to look up Spangen helm and see if there's any other better options out there. Alright, here's not a bad option here. This is a 600 gold Spangen helm. It has 2 max health, 2% physical damage bonus, true magical, and 1 resourcefulness. Resourcefulness not being the worst thing to use in the world because we're using, instead of using spells, we're using double cooldown, double abilities, so reducing our cooldowns, not the worst thing in the world. So we're going to grab this helmet for 600 gold. Alright, next up we'll do the chest. I always do a ruby silver vestments because the 5 will is pretty good and it's only a -3 move speed. So, and my 2 stats that I cannot live without are max health and action speed, personally. So let's see what we can find here. Alright, this one's looking pretty nice. This is 4% physical damage, 4 health, almost 2% action speed, and almost 2% magical damage reduction. So I'm going to go with this for 1,666. Again, it's a little bit more pricier of a kit, but if you can afford it, it is really good, and then you are hard to kill, and you are quite a force to be reckoned with. Next, we're going to go with the legs. So the legs, you're either going to do heavy leather leggings or Brave Hunter pants, and it depends on what you want to do. So if you want more PDR and a little bit more health, you go heavy leathers. If you want more action speed, so faster attack speed, you go Brave Hunters. And since I'm using a Spangen that has agility and dex, naturally I'm going to lean into the heavy leather leggings. So let me just check and see what the heavy leather leggings are going for. The 2 stats I look for heavy leathers are again health and action speed. Same thing on our ruby silver vestments. So here's a pair that's 2 agility, 4 health, and 1.6% action speed for 900. I like these, so I'm going to go ahead and snag these real quick. Alright. Next up, the gloves. Now the gloves are kind of a flex item, either between riveted, reinforced, or heavy gauntlets. Honestly, it depends on what's cheaper. If I get riveted, I usually go for like a double health roll and action speed roll. If I get reinforced, I usually go with like a health and action speed roll. And if I get heavy gauntlets, I usually get like a fist power health action speed roll. So you're just buying whatever will give you the best damage, health, action speed balance, basically. So you don't really need to specifically go for one in particular. I actually really like these. I actually ended up going with light gauntlets, which is again a fourth option, but I'm really going with these because they have 2 dex, 2 health, and the action speed. So they give me a little bit of dex that I would normally get from getting heavy gauntlets, because heavy gauntlets are dex and vigor. So I'm gonna take these for 900. Alright, next up I'm going to get a cloak, and I almost always go a vigilant cloak with health and true magic, or health and action speed. So here's actually an armor rating, action speed, true magic for 1600. I'm gonna go with this. This seems like a good bet. Although it's missing the max health, it does have armor on it, which is arguably just about as good. Now, next up we're gonna go boots. We'll do the jewelry last, but now that I'm looking at boots, so for the boots, I almost always go ruggeds with health, if I can. Like health, move speed, and then like the last roll will either be PDR, dex, will, something that is helpful and does apply to this kit. So let me just look up ruggeds with health and move speed. Like something like this is perfect. 3 health, 1.3% move speed, and 2 will for 700. I'll for sure be taking these. Alright, next up, rings and amulet. Let's start with an amulet. I almost always go a necklace of peace with 1 all attributes. I'm either going to get action speed or true magic. Let's see what we can find. So again, it's up to you. You could spend like 1500 for a epic quality necklace of peace with all attributes and true magic. Honestly, this one's pretty good. It's got 7 armor rating on it, which isn't the worst thing in the world. Or you could downgrade and get one of these for 500, which doesn't have an extra roll on it and 2 less health. It's totally up to you what you want to do. For this kit, it's more of an expensive kit usually when I build it, so I'm going to get this one with the armor rating on it. Alright, next up, rings. So I'm looking at my kit now. This is when I decide what kind of rings I want to do, and this is why I do my rings last. So I'm 152 HP. I need more HP. Because if I have I'll try to aim for 170, so right now I'm feeling like I need more HP. My action speed is great, that's phenomenal. That's mainly due to the fact that I'm using a Spangen Helm over a Crusader. But also the lack of a Crusader is probably why our HP is a little bit on the lower end. So I'm looking at these stats and I'm thinking I'm going to go with a Vitality Ring with +1 all and True Magic. Now you could go a Grim Smile, but let me just show you the price difference, right? So +1 all plus True Magic, Vitality Ring starts at 750 at the rare scale, and then if we go to Epic, it goes to 2000. So that's a lot. So if we go over to Grim Smile for +1 all and plus True Magic, it's almost double the price. So I mean, while you could go this, there's nothing stopping you from going this route. It's just up to you what you want to spend, right? So I'm gonna go a Vitality Ring. That's probably get 2 of these for 750 because that seems pretty good to me for the value. 750 on one, 750 on another. Just like that, or 162 HP. Next up, I need a Morning Star and a Buckler or a Heater Shield. It's up to you what you want to use. A Buckler can be nicer against Barbarians for blocking like Reckless Attack. Even though a Heater has a bigger block, if they have Crush, you'll get staggered. But if they have Crush and you have a Buckler, I don't believe you'll ever get staggered, to my knowledge. If you're managed to block it, of course. And of course, that's putting your hands in the faith of the blocking gods, and they're not always so kind to anybody that tries to block, but it's up to you. So I'm gonna look up a Morningstar that's legendary, and I search by weapon damage, because a legendary Morningstar can either roll 44 or 45. We want a 45, and not only do we want a 45, we want at least 3 max health, and action speed preferably, but it depends on the price. Let's see what we got here. So we have 42. This is really good. It's a +2 with action speed, physical damage, and buff duration for 888. Let me just see what we're rocking with without the action speed, because we do have a lot of action speed already. So So yeah, looking at the alternative options, they're not that great. Starting at like 500 gold, they're just not that great. So I'm gonna put on action speed and probably get that one again, because for 300 more gold, I get so much. I get, not only do I get action speed and health, but I get physical damage and buff duration. So I'm definitely gonna take that for 888. And I'm gonna look up a buckler. Alright, next up I'm gonna look up a buckler with physical damage reduction and additional armor rating. I'm going to look up a epic one. Preferably I want one with either health, action speed, or add weapon damage as its third stat. Alright, so this is double PDR and 1.5% action speed. I'm going to go with this over 3 health, preferably. Again, the action speed, not the worst thing in the world. And again, not the worst thing in the world that we're under 170 HP. We're going to be 172 with I'm sorry, we're going to be 164 with our Morningstar, because we're 162 plus the 2 that's on the Morningstar. However, our action speed is almost 15%, and then plus this, it's going to be over 16, and then plus this, it's going to be like 17.5. So a lot of action speed to make up for our loss of health, not the worst thing in the world. And of course, a magic power bonus could be a little bit better, but it is hard to kind of squeak it in on here. You probably need will on your gauntlets to actually make it work. To get to like where you want to be, like at that 35 at least, like, you know, 33 is not the worst in the world. Again, these are just goalposts to meet. You don't necessarily have to meet them, and you're not gonna meet all of them on every build unless you spend like 30,000 gold on some of these pieces. So with that being said, this is a pretty solid kit, I think, built around for 10k if built properly and built around this, and I think it's very solid. I think it's pretty strong against most things in the game. You're not necessarily, and I'm 300 move speed, so I'm not the slowest guy in the world. You know, I'm not the fastest, but I'm not the slowest guy. I'm not going to get completely kited, and I can play around a doorway and a shut and open door if I need to judgment if they decide to come through the doorway, and, you know, play around that. So this is how I kit up this build, and I think it works pretty well, honestly. I just want to show you what a really giga geared set. So we saw this; it was like 160-ish HP, you know. 15% action speed. Let me just show you what a giga geared set looks like. So this far left is my giga set. Alright, so this is how good it can get when you start like uncapping your spending. This is probably like a 30,000 gold kit. Again, I'm just going to slow hover all these pieces, so you can take a look at what this looks like at the higher end. Again, Grim Smells with +1 all, of course. True Magic and health, or True Magic and action speed. I've been looking at the stats here. You know, 181 health with our Morningstar and our shield out. We're 187 health. And then we're about 17% action speed. And then with our shield and Morningstar out, we're just shy. You know, we're about 18 to 19% action speed once we pull this out. So we're swinging extremely fast. Our physical damage reduction is 50% in this kit. And you saw the kit before, it was only like 38, 39, you know, spending that 10k. But this is like being like a 30k set. Our PDR is almost 50% before we pull the shield out. And this is a double PDR heater shield. So our PDR will be damn near probably 60% when we pull this out. Magic resistance is 31. Physical power bonus is 10%. And then, you know, of course, it's 20% with blunt weapon mastery. So we meet basically all of our benchmarks here on this kit. Magic power bonus is still a little bit low, but it's okay because, you know, this is a crazy set as it is, and this kind of illustrates the potential of how strong it can get when you're willing to throw a lot of money at this. And you know, our move speed, ironically, slower than the last set, but we definitely have a lot more survivability and a lot more damage. And our PDR is basically the shining feature here. Mainly because we got armor rating on this, and I think we got physical damage reduction on this. And this helm has armor rating and physical damage reduction built into it. Gloves have physical damage reduction. The cloak has physical damage reduction. But yeah, you can definitely see the potential here. Even when you start stacking physical damage reduction, when you know, go from epic to legendary grade, you're getting your base core requirements for the kit met, and you start, you know, spending a little bit extra to get physical damage reduction rolled on top. You can definitely see the difference between that last kit being like 37, 38% PDR before shield, and this one being almost 50 PDR before shield. So pretty crazy difference. and pretty strong once you throw a lot of gold at it, but still decently strong when you throw a medium amount of gold on it. Even with all this being said, this kit down here is nothing to write off. You know, this middle class kit that I'm spending 8,000 to 10,000 on versus, you know, you see what you get when you spend, you know, 30,000 plus on this kit. You know, there's definitely not a linear progression as far as gold spent and stats acquired. But if you're willing to spend more, you can definitely get a lot more out of this build. Alright, that does it for me, guys. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you all. If you liked the video, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe if you have not already. And I'll see you in the next video. See ya. I'm owning this guy. Be taking this. That's a motherfucking dub. It's got fucking scraps for me. Killed him.